Yeah, so the neat thing about it is because V12 has within it a distributed database and all of these digital ballots, so the whole purpose of this validation process that is executed by humans, not AI, and it is executed only by verified U.S. citizens. Um, so the whole purpose of that is to get the digital one that can then be uploaded into a database. That's the whole point. Because then we can do really neat stuff, really powerful stuff with it. We can aggregate all of that data. We can know in real time what the results are of a vote, and we can be the first to predict the election results. We will no longer have to rely on the news to do this. We will be able to do it, all of us together, all of us. And the computing platforms will be in all of your homes, and your job will be to run them, keep them connected to the internet, provide electricity, and above all else, keep them safe. One of the really neat features that I love, and I've really worked really hard on this, so I don't want to toot my own horn, but there is a VPN service called the Tor Network. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it is run by volunteers throughout the world. It is incredibly secure and free to use. The V12 platform protects itself by hiding behind the Tor network. And I say hiding behind because I'm pretty sure, I'm willing to bet, based on the extremely interesting experiences I've had over the last 5 years. Let me just put it like that, and there's some Lulus. I've quite literally been threatened with death many times, almost lost my life. It's been dicey. So based on all those experiences, it will be hidden. It will be a hidden service behind the Tor network. The reason for that, it's super important, super critical, because it protects all of you folks. So when you launch a V12 node and you run it in your home, the last thing you want is a knock at the door from a three-letter agency. Now, it's perfectly legal and lawful in every way. That's the thing. But given what's happened over the last, 5 years-ish, I don't know about you guys. Let's just say my faith in three-letter agencies has been quite shaken. So it will run behind the Tor network so that each and every one of us can have our constitutionally protected right to privacy guaranteed. That's the reason why. It's not to do anything shady or bad or anything like that. It's simply to protect your privacy and protect the security of the V12 system. There's some other really powerful stuff we can do with that, which I'll talk about later. This is really just the beginning of something huge that will literally change the world forever. It's going to change everything. It's going to blow your mind. This is just the beginning. So that is the third thing that will be in version 2. In version 3, will be released what I call a C-commerce platform. Kind of a play on words. C-commerce is a word I came up with, so don't let anybody fool you. It's, of course, playing off of the word e-commerce, right? Electronic commerce like Amazon and whatnot, Shopify and those guys, which are, all great companies. So it will basically be the same exact thing, except for one very important feature. It will run on the distributed platform of V12. It will run on all of our compute hardware that we own and operate. And because we own and operate it, we will all get the fees. It's a legitimate business model. Perfectly legal, perfectly lawful. It's just distributed. And the way I am setting it up, or the way I am I'm inviting all of you to help me set it up, because I can't do it alone. It's going to take 42,000 node operators to get this thing fully online, and in reality, we only need about 12,000. But what I've done is I built in redundancy into it, because I'm anticipating that it'll be attacked. Because I think that just is going to happen. So you got to plan for it. So I plan for at least 3 times redundancy. So I've oversized the network 3 times what I think we'll need. If we need more, we can add more. we can add, there's no upper limit on the number of nodes we can add. So we can add as many nodes as we need to. So that will be in version 3. Now if you think about it, if we get all of those things online, and I'm sorry, I missed one part. The reason for the C-commerce platform is very important. So in step 2, in version 2, so the goal of version 1 is really just to get the network up and running, get it online, get people familiar with it, and begin to get people comfortable to begin using it, right? Just familiarize everybody, so it'll be kind of an educational period. But it will be practical and it will be viable to use. And it is a powerful platform so that you can transfer money from one place to the other without violating any laws that are governed by FinCEN. And if you don't know who FinCEN is, that is the U.S. federal entity, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. They are quite possibly one of the most powerful organizations in the world. Case in point, the IRS is a part of FinCEN. So the IRS, very powerful organization, right? They're a part, just a part of FinCEN. So FinCEN is very powerful, and they have very strict regulatory requirements. I have taken extreme care, dotted every I across every T to ensure that every aspect of V12 is fully compliant with all U.S. federal and state regulations, including all FinCEN regulations. Long story short, I've figured out a way so that we do not have to have money transmitter licenses because we never actually transfer money in the same exact way that Bitcoin operates. So it's modeled to operate almost identically to Bitcoin in every way that's important, except Bitcoin is slow, and the fees for Bitcoin are expensive, and there are a few other things with Bitcoin that are not so hot. However, if Satoshi Nakamoto is out there somewhere listening, I want to say thank you for everything you've done. You're an absolute genius. This would not be possible without your work, and I truly, genuinely believe that you are one of the smartest people to have ever graced planet Earth, and I'm just grateful as all get out that I can kind of add to the work that you started. So anyway, little shout out, I guess, to Satoshi Nakamoto, wherever he may be, or she, could be a woman, but probably a dude. It's a dude's name. So one really important facet of this is the minting of new tokens is strictly governed by the system itself. It is not underpinned by dollars. It is not underpinned by any hard asset. What is underpinned by is work, human labor, because that's what actual value in the real world is created by. So if you don't know this, all value in our economy, every dollar that's every ounce of value, whether it's a dollar or a yen or any currency anywhere, is created by a human being first, taking some raw materials, doing something with them, putting them together, refining them, whatever, and making it something more than it was when they started, right? Whether that's making a chair out of wood, or a table, or a house, or whatever, or even providing a service. Same exact thing. Human beings add their work to things, and it's their work that creates the value. Work is the valuable thing. Not money, not gold, not currency, work. So the thing that underpins the entire V12 system and then the monetary system, the cryptocurrency, is work. That's what Bitcoin showed us, because Bitcoin is based on work. That's the common thread. And it's the magic, because we never mint tokens ever and sell them. It's just not possible because of the way the code is written. The only way tokens can be minted is if a human being runs a V12 node and does some actual work. For example, the work of verifying someone's identity. When you verify someone's identity, so if you are one of the 20 that is randomly selected, you have the opportunity to get some tokens. So if you do the actual work of verifying a person's identity, well, you're entitled to something as compensation for the work you've done. You've added value to this system. You've added value to the world. by verifying someone's identity. That's a valuable thing. We have people that get paid a lot of money to do that in our government agencies. So what I'm doing is basically duplicating exactly what we do within the government, but I'm simply duplicating it in a distributed computing system so that all of us can do that same work. That's really it. It's just the same thing, just we're doing it. And then tokens will be minted automatically and show up in your wallet. That is the only way. So that is one way, actually. Okay, actually it's 3 ways. So that's one way you can get tokens. The second way is you can run and operate a V12 node because you're actually doing work there. If you're paying for the electricity, you're securing it, you're paying for internet, you're keeping it online, you're managing the system. Well, the management is automatic. It all just automatically upgrades and does all that magical stuff, right? And all of us have to vote before any of those upgrades go into place. So all of you will review all of the code changes that I or anyone on my team writes, and you'll have ample time to review it before any of the code changes go into play. And that way, power is, like, the integrity of the system itself is maintained by the people of America, by only valid citizens of America. That's very important. And through a valid vote. Now this vote that I'm talking about will govern the upgrade and the management of the platform itself. So it's governed by us, and we can just do it because it's a company, so we can do whatever we want. So that is how new tokens will be minted. Oh yeah, that was the second way. Sorry, it's late, I'm tired, long day, stressful. The third way that new tokens will be minted is there is a mathematical formula that I created. I've been trying to create that formula for years, finally cracked it. It's revolutionary. It's going to change the world. It is the key, it is the Rosetta Stone to creating a truly stable currency that is based only on work. It does not have to be based on any underlying asset, because all of those assets, gold, silver, the US dollar, if you really study finance and economics as deeply as I have over the last, I would say, like 10 years, 12 years, you'll see that money is just a symbol. It is not a store of value, as many would have you believe. Gold is not a store of value. There is actually no value in gold. There is no value in silver except that you can use it for stuff. Now, the silver, I would say, is probably more valuable than gold because you can actually use it to produce stuff. You can use gold to produce stuff too, but yeah, it's not as useful. It's more useful for jewelry, to just look nice because it's pliable and doesn't break. It's malleable, I believe is the term. But the thing that creates its value is you can't counterfeit it, and it doesn't ever, tarnish. It doesn't corrode, and it's easily recognizable. And people around the world believe in it. That's really it. People around the world trust that gold is gold, and it's always going to be gold. So it uses all of those same exact mechanisms that are based in reality, not based on some hocus pocus mumbo jumbo stuff. So this video's run kind of long. I actually had prepared some very concrete numbers based on some important research and studies that are published by the U.S. government and by the U.S. Federal Reserve. So I want to go over those. Those are very important because these describe exactly how all of us will be compensated for running a V12 node. And also, we'll show you how we can affect change using financial power, basically, voting with our wallets. How we can actually enact change legally and lawfully to help all of us reassert our role as parents. So I started this project in earnest about 7 years ago when my daughter was taken from me. It was a heartbreaking moment which I will never forget, and I'm sure many of you have gone through the same thing. I swore in that moment I was going to war, and I've been at war. But this kind of war is different, because I can't win this kind of war if I do something stupid. I can't win this kind of war if I lash out in anger and do something dumb. I realized this kind of war I was only going to win if I hunkered down and was smart and be prepared to sacrifice everything, and that's what I've done. So that's when I started studying economics, and I also studied. So here's kind of how V12 came about. The question I wanted to answer was how do the family courts, or as I call them, the anti-family courts, how do they do what they do? Where do they get their power? Because I want to neutralize their power permanently. I want to neutralize it. And I discovered an interesting relationship, and it took me a long time to see this. But I discovered that the anti-family court's power really comes from the central banking system. Let me explain. The majority of the time in a family court case, a judge will issue an order for child support and alimony, right? Additionally, you'll have to pay tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars to an attorney, which in my case lit fire to my entire life savings. So I'm sure all of you have been through that nightmare. But primarily their power comes from the central banks, because a court's primary weapon against all of us is money. A judge will issue a child support order or an alimony order, and then if you don't pay, how do they enforce it? Can you guess? It's through a garnishment order. So then the judge will issue a garnishment order. And the banks will quite literally take your money. They will not ask your permission. They will not tell you. They will simply take it, and then they will do whatever they want with it. That is the power that the central banks give to judges. That is one of the very reasons, I believe, why we're seeing so many corrupt judges these days, because they know they have the power to take literally everything from you with the slam of a hammer, their gavel. And they do it all day, every day. That's what they do. So I'm not going to go any further on that, but that's what I uncovered. That's what I realized. And when I realized that, I knew that I had to shift my focus. My focus couldn't be to go against the anti-family courts, because that's a battle I will lose every time. I had to somehow find a way to neutralize the threat of the central banks. That's what I've done. That's why this is based on cryptocurrency. Because if we neutralize that, through legal and lawful means, by the way. So when I say I'm going to war, I mean it, but there are all different kinds of wars, right? I'm not talking about violence. I'm not talking about breaking the law. There's all different kinds of wars, right? We can fight a legal war, we can fight a war in chess, checkers, whatever, right? The kind of war I'm talking about is fighting fire with fire by fighting using economics. Because it seems to be the only language that these people understand. They seem, to me, to be greedy bastards who don't give a crap about decimating people's lives, about hurting children. It seems like they don't give a crap about any of that. All they care about is money. And as long as they get paid, and they get to, have their cronies get paid and drain all of us of every penny we've saved, which really symbolizes all of the effort and the work we've all done for our entire lives. So they basically get to drain us of all of our work for our whole lives. It's as though they have a time machine. They can go back in time. They can club us over the head in the past and for all years up until now. It's as though it's like that. That's the kind of war I'm talking about. So when I realized that that's where their power comes from, I shifted my focus. And my focus became, how do I neutralize the central banks as a threat? Everyone that I've spoken to up until this point, everyone, family, friends, colleagues, business partners, almost everyone has told me, Mike, you're going to get yourself killed. And you know what I said? I said, you know what? I certainly, if there are any evildoers listening, I certainly do reserve all my rights and will always retain my right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And I will fight for other good people to do the same. But I said to myself, I've studied the Constitution. I've read, enough of history. I've read the words of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and early patriots who fought for our country. I never had the honor of serving in the military, but I realized something, that brave men stood up and they risked their lives. They risked their lives to do something because it was right. And I realized, how can I call myself an American if I don't do the same? So that was my motivation. That's my resolve. And I have a way to keep myself safe. So that's it's all good. But if you've made it this far, it is a very long video. Thank you. I do want to say I'm going to publish another video on some more of the technical details and the economics, and show you the payment studies and all the really solid information that all of this is based upon in the next video. And I have scheduled a meeting for this Tuesday at 7 a.m. Pacific. It is a free meeting. You are welcome to attend. My only intention there is to share more information, answer questions, and hopefully rally the troops so that we can all work lock and step together to get this thing online. There are ways built into it where all of you can earn, if we meet the goals that I have outlined in there. The goals are set for very good reasons, which I'll explain, they're not just arbitrary. They're there for a very good reason, and they have to be there, and you'll see when I explain it. But each of the V12 node owners, when we get this thing online and when we are successful, and I know we certainly can be, I am certain of that, each of the V12 node owners, so 42,000 people, will be able to earn an income of approximately $200,000 a year for the rest of their lives for simply running a computer node in their home. That ain't bad, right? And we will be able to do that while saving 99.9% of businesses in America. Think about that for a second. That's small businesses. Did you know that 99.9% of businesses in America are small businesses? And small businesses are classified as 500 workers or less? Did you know that? Pretty amazing, right? So they're classified as small, but they are actually the most mighty force, economic force the world's ever known. Because as you probably know, the United States has the largest GDP of any nation worldwide. And so if you put the two of those things together, 99.9% of the businesses are small businesses owned and operated by all of you amazing people out there and people like me. We're doing it together. We have the power of the economy. We hold the power of the purse. That is the most powerful thing that America has in its arsenal. That's how I know, I'm certain we can bring this online, and we can do it quickly. And when we get it online, 42,000 people will be able to earn an income of $200,000 a year. Maybe more people. I don't know. We'll have to see if we can grow, do better than the goals I have outlined, and I'll show what they're based on. But in addition to all of that, we will save 99.9% of businesses in America 3%. They will add 3% to their bottom line simply by transferring money using the V12 tokens instead of other companies, which I will not name. But I'm sure you know who they are. The big ones, the ones we use every day with debit cards and credit cards and all those kind of things, ACH transfers and all that good stuff. The V12 system right now, so the Visa network, handles about 4,500 transactions a second, at least last time I checked, which is really fast. That's a lot of transactions a second. So it handles 4,500 financial transactions per second. Other cryptocurrency platforms are trying to beat that number. That is the benchmark. That is the number to beat. V12 has been tested and can handle 10,000 transactions per second right now. True story. Pretty exciting, right? So the sooner we all get this online, the sooner we can all save money and profit from operating a financial network that is on par with the largest financial networks in the world. And I want Americans to do it. I'm not trying to exclude our international, neighbors, but primarily because the laws here protect us and enable us to do this, and the laws in other countries are different. So I see this as kind of a calling, a duty, whatever you want to call it. I do have plans and ways to expand this to our international friends, only if they want to adopt it. Because I think that, in my opinion at least, I think America has long played a role of meddling in other nations' affairs, and speaking for myself, I don't want any part of that. I have not had any part of that, and I will not have any part of that. I don't think that's my place. I think international relations are best handled by simply trading with our international friends and being nice to them. I think it's as simple as that. I think we just did those two things. Just engage in trade with our international friends and be nice. It's simple. Obviously, we want to be strong. We want to have a military. We want to defend ourselves in case we're, be in a position to defend ourselves if we're ever attacked. But I don't think we should be on the offensive, and I certainly don't think we should be using economic means to accomplish our goals. It's horrible what it does to people. It kills people. So anyway, thank you for watching, and then again, thanks for reaching out and responding to my message. I will post another video tomorrow, and I'll attach the URL so that you can join the meeting if you like on Tuesday. It'll be Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time. Sorry for the early morning, but gotta do it sometime, and we all got jobs to do, so figured that might be the best time. Thanks. Take care.